Good evening. Happy Monday. Raining, miserable weather in Jersey for the last 3 days, I think, at least.
Yeah.
I did see Rhonda, David, Kathy, Lewis, Cheryl. I saw up there. Hey, Laura. How are you? How's everyone doing? Patricia, how are you? Patricia predicted doomsday for our psychic fair, but she was wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And we're going to get to that. Hello, Donna. Ray, how are you? Carmen, how are you? Nancy, Kate, how are you? Allison,
Hey, Dana. Deb.
Dana. So, you're looking at what's left of us after a grueling weekend. Hey, Fred, how are you? Rosa,
Just a little bit.
Michelle, Donna Schultz was there. Rhonda, the W word. Don't know what the W word is. I'm almost afraid to ask. Oh, under the weather.
Sorry, Carmen.
Yeah, a lot of people are not feeling well. Amanda, how you doing? Christopher, how you doing? Karen. So, we Friday night was the first event. We actually did two-hour. Hey, Brendan. Two-hour ghost hunts at the Caldwell Parsonage in Union, New Jersey, which we only do events there once a year, and it's usually around Halloween, and we've been doing that for probably 9, 10 years now. Sharon, how are you? And it was fun. There's this one group of people that are, I guess, they go to the same church as the director, one of the directors. They're there every year. And there's usually like 10 to 15 of them,
yeah.
at least.
16.
And it's like a reunion now when we see these people. And they were there for the first session. Hey, Colette. And
they always bring new people with them.
Yeah, there's always some new people mixed in with the familiar. Hey, Mike, how are you? And for a short event, it did move quickly because it was only 2 hours, and we had to just squeeze everything we could into 2 hours. But that was a fun night. It went quick, being 2 hour, 2 hours event. It was like just moving people, and I had some good experiences there. It's been a year since we've been in there, and we're going to go back in there in the winter time just to do a live again. And it's so funny. Beginning when we first started going there, real quick, if you don't know the story, you can watch our YouTube video on Woodbridge TV. Hannah Caldwell, her husband James, and their children lived in that home when it was Connecticut Farms before it was Union during the Revolutionary War. James was a reverend who was outspoken against the British, and he would speak out against them, kind of get people to join, the militias and everything. And he knew the British were in the area, and he kept telling his wife, "Take the kids, get out of there, because they're around, they're burning things, they're looting." And she was like, "I'm the lady of the house. I got nothing to fear."
Yeah, because that was the typical practice, that the women of the house stayed behind and whatever, and they weren't usually affected.
So what happened was she wound up getting shot and killed by a British soldier. They looted the house, dragged her body outside, burned the house down. A year later, the house was built on the exact same spot, and then her husband was murdered under suspicious circumstances. So lots of energy there surrounding what happened to the family. Hey, Nora. And every time we've been in there initially, it was either the Caldwell family or any of the other reverends who lived there after it was rebuilt again on the same spot. 2-3 years ago, a new person presented himself and referred to himself as a poltergeist and was doing some weird stuff and saying some weird stuff. Well, that person was there again. And hey, Allison. And they were messing around the whole night with me up on that second floor and in the attic, pretending to be the Caldwells and then doing some weird stuff here and there. And I think that person, I said this to the people who were there, I think that person was brought in by a donation, artifacts. They get a lot of
Oh, they have a
stuff
lot of artifacts. You're
that
right.
people give them from the
Yeah.
period, you know, that for the museum.
Yeah.
And I think they brought somebody in who wasn't there before. And this person, he or she goes back and forth, and it was interesting for me because again, that person, he was pretending, and then he was just messing with me the whole entire time, and but it was a fun 4 hours, 2 hours, and 2 hours. And the second session was a lot of familiar faces, you know, and other people that were sort of new. And it was just a good night, a fast night. Yeah. And that was Nikki was there.
Nikki and Joy
was there
was for the whole
They
weekend.
were there the whole weekend.
They stuck it out through boom, start to finish with us from Friday all the way into Saturday night. God love them.
So when we do the Caldwell Parsonage, we also do it's like the tool museum, only they have like old TVs, or I love the old TVs and radios that they have in there. But the problem is, you know, when we're setting up, that's why we get there so early, so we know what the building's like, we know what we're dealing with. Problem is they have floodlights around that building, which is not attached to the main
and all the windows
house.
Yeah.
So the two of us literally go to my car, we take out this giant tarp and we're cutting it into pieces big enough for
windows.
And we're fitting them into the windows, because otherwise
upstairs and down
it looks like daylight in that building.
That was interesting. I do have to tell you, this was funny. The people that were in my group, Brandon was whatever was up there was interacting with him when he was up on the top floor. But the funny thing is that when I speak, sometimes the words come out wrong, the words that I want to say, and he knows it. And I had said, I was talking what John was just saying about who shot Hannah. And I did say there was a question of who shot Hannah. Was it the British soldiers or was it the Haitians? And a thing on the box started like laughing. A male voice was laughing. And it's not Haitian, it's Hessian. Right. And I meant to say Hessian, but the other word came out. And it was just so funny because
is that Brandon right
yes,
there?
That's okay. Brandon. And it literally was laughing at what I said. And we all started busting out laughing because, And I even said to the spirit, you know, I didn't mean to say that. I'm glad you found that hysterical, like everybody in my circle. So thank you for that.
Brandon, we missed your dad.
Yeah, but Brandon was doing the REM pod, and the REM pod, whatever the spirit, we set him off into the corner of the upstairs part of the shed with the equipment and stuff, and it was reacting around him. And then somebody said something about a spirit, and he said, no, the spirits can't come home with me. And I said, well, I think it's going to be more than one, it's a bunch. And all of a sudden the REM pod goes
I almost I couldn't stop laughing because, you know, I bring my speaker with me that's attached to the obelisk, and as I go building, you know, floor to floor, and it's a bigger speaker so I can hear it, and they can hear it from wherever we are. we're in the attic, and this woman didn't know. I don't know if I forget her name. She didn't know I brought it up with me, and I kind of put it in the corner, and it was sort of behind her. And when it said his first word, I don't remember what it was. She went, ah! Everybody that was in the group of her that knew her were cracking up, and I just couldn't stop laughing. Everybody. I was trying to compose myself, and everybody, she was just like, I didn't know that was there. I didn't know, it scared the hell out of me. And everybody was just laughing.
They were laughing downstairs too. I heard about that.
She screamed so loud.
Oh, that was too good.
So that was a good night. Again, it was, but we knew that was one, you know, and I'll tell you what, I didn't think I was going to be tired. What did I think that I kept smelling? I don't know. That was weird. I just kept smelling that one thing over and over and over again. I kept referencing it and telling people about it, and they didn't smell what I was smelling. I think one person did, and I just kept getting this one smell over and over again.
There were pictures up in that, up on the shed, up on the top floor. They have a glass case with things in it. And on top of it were pictures of fire that had happened in the 1950s of this building.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was more flowers. Yeah, it wasn't fire.
And we actually had got in. There were fire trucks that gone through. You had to have heard them at some point. And then we got the obelisk or box said that fire. It said fire. It didn't say it when the fire trucks went through. It said fire, and it kept referring to building, fire, whatever.
Burn down the house.
And then all of a sudden we look, it just happened to be that I was going to grab a piece of equipment that was up on the glass, and I flicked the light on, and I go, oh my God, these are all pictures of this house that burned around over here. And it literally is every step of what it looked like when, and then the fire department there, and it burning down, and the people, and it was just like, it was crazy.
That might have been a trigger. Again, that building was burned down after they killed
Yeah,
him. So
so it all
the fire
tied
in the
in.
neighborhood could have triggered whatever spirits were there, and kind of a weird thing that we're trying to openly communicate with them. And there's a fire, so again,
Like a trigger, like you said,
triggers the
trigger,
energy.
yeah, something that just gives that little.
So we, again, we go to the Wawa, which was nowhere near where we were, so we drove way out of the way, but that's nobody's fault. But
he picked it.
I did
not me.
I don't know what you're talking. I just
You
said it was nobody's fault.
You went. Yeah, because
I
I can't see this. I can't see that, but I can see that because of Brian and Ann. So that where I never used to see before, I can see now on the TV.
I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, so I was tired after Friday night. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little tired. So Saturday we hey Susan.
Hi Susan.
Saturday we had the psychic fair. Now we knew it was gonna rain. We heard from everybody Friday night who was at the event about the rain that was coming Saturday.
We were getting gloom and doom.
Weather person Patricia Guest was giving me updates on an hourly basis about the.
She was not the only one. Let's be fair.
That was coming, and how we were going to have to build an ark and probably put 2 animals of every species on the thing to save ourselves. So we were actually. I
think Patricia would say only dogs.
We were actually talking even at the event Friday night about what do we do about the psychic fair. We were, because people were talking. Yeah,
they were concerned.
So we were going back and forth with the people at the Barron Arts Center, and what do we do? Everybody's saying flash floods, torrential downpours, blah blah blah. What do we do? And to her credit, Cynthia was just like, "Look, the readers aren't canceling. No one's canceling. Whoever's going to be there is meant to be there. We're going to go forward because we're not postponing. We're not rescheduling." So I was like, "Hey. Que sera, sera. Whatever happens."
We were getting messages all night long. What time do you want us to be there? What time is set up?
Well, we were just like, whatever happens, happens.
Yep.
So we get there. Chris and I, of course, are the first ones there. We had to rearrange the room a little bit because the tables weren't where they should be. Getting things ready, putting up signage, and the rain's coming. Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
The rain's already starting as soon as we got there, and it's in waves, light. And a little harder, light, and a little harder. Wouldn't you know it, man? 11. We opened at 11. Wouldn't you know? 11 o'clock. There were cars in that drive parking lot already for people coming in.
We've had people show up early.
I'll tell you what. I was just as surprised as anybody else that there was hundreds of people that came to that thing.
Yeah, there was.
And the readers were booked the entire day, all of them. And the vendors did okay. I mean, and I was shocked that as many people came to that did in that weather. But everybody kept saying, even the readers, like, where else are they going to go? All the street fairs, everything else is closed. People are looking for something. Outside. They love going to readers. This is what they want to do. And they did. And it was a great day. It was a long day-ish because I'd only gotten 4 hours sleep. We had to get up and go and pack all of our equipment and recharge it at 2:00 in the morning and then get ready to go the next morning. So we went from Psychic Fair 5:00 to Liberty Hall. Now, not to make anything easy for us anywhere we go. that would be too easy. No one wants to make things easier for us. Challenge. We have to have challenges. So
we have earned our stripes.
We find out, we get to Liberty Hall, we find out, it's still raining. So if you've been to Liberty Hall with us, Liberty Hall is a big, beautiful, multi-story mansion. That
50 some odd rooms?
Yeah, that the Kane family lived in for 4 generations. Beautiful. And adjacent to that, a little walking path you have to go, is the big carriage house that has 2 floors as well. We use both of those buildings for our events. Normally, we do. And it's so funny because I'm going to knock on wood here
Please.
because we've been very fortunate in weather for our events. Even like rain at the mine, it's knock on wood, hasn't happened where we were trying to walk people back and forth in pouring rain. It hasn't happened. Liberty Hall, we've also been kind of lucky with that too. So, you know, here we are. We know it's raining. We've already decided we're not going to use the carriage house and make people walk back and forth because they're going to get soaking wet if they don't have umbrellas. So we're going to stick to the mansion, which there's plenty of room in the mansion. So we were okay with that.
Yeah.
You got the basement, which is pretty big. You got the first floor.
No.
You got the second floor. You got the attic. So normally the mansion has separation everywhere. Big, big, beautiful house. So here we go. We get there. They tell us first floor you can't use because they're painting the first floor. And we're like,
huh?
So we can't use the carriage house and we can't use the first floor. Now we're left with the basement, second floor, and the attic. But to their credit, Liberty Hall has some of the best people that support that place, volunteers, directors, everybody, some of the best people. And they don't wait, they get out in front of things and they help us big time, even during the events. They're right there with us helping. Very knowledgeable people, very caring people. They care about you having a good time as much as we care about you having a good time. So I give them all the credit in the world, especially Mary Ellen McVeigh, who is a godsend.
Anything for her.
So she took it upon herself because we were doing scrying to move scrying out to the.
It's I don't know how to.
It's like a porch, but it's enclosed. It's beautiful area, overlooks the garden.
Big, massive
beautiful
room.
So that's where scrying. Perfect place for it. Perfect if we couldn't use the library. Also secluded away from the rest of the building. You can close the doors and now you're outside of the mansion. So we still had 3 other good areas. The other area we were finally able to use that we never could use before was the attic. I'd investigated the attic a teeny tiny bit with Mary Ellen's daughter one time, and we saw a shadow figure go run from one end to the other. So now I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm going to take that area. I'm going to be up there the whole night. As if a gift from the creepy paranormal gods for me happened. It was like my paranormal birthday present. I go up there. The hallway's dark. It's one area, and then you go all the way down the hallway, and then there's other areas. Now, the main area.
There's got to be like 11 rooms up in that attic.
It's a lot.
Pretty close.
When you first walk up, there's 2 flights of stairs. But the flight of stairs I walked up, there's a big open area, and you can see straight down the end to the exit sign where there's rooms on either side. But where I am, there's 3 rooms to my left and bells on the wall outside the rooms. The servants lived up there and the cook. So whenever the Kane family needed something, they would ring a particular bell in the rooms, and the servants would go and see what was needed. So those 3 rooms were to my left. Then it was a straight long hallway. I never knew that there was anything in because the hallways, wood walls on either side. I never knew that there were more rooms to the left. I knew to the right at the end of the hall, there was 1, 2, 3 more rooms that had old vintage liquor from the 1700s.
Yeah.
Furniture.
Medina. What is it? They call it Medina, Madeiran. What is that? What that they used to make? Madeiran or Medina, something like that. Sorry. It was just something.
I'll wait. Do you want to look it up?
No, because it's what I read a lot about from back in that time period. Go ahead, finish.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna look it up.
Old liquor from the 1800s. Then the room right next to that, they had all the old furniture. Whenever there was, of course, a new generation of Canes, they would buy new furniture, and the old furniture would get stored up in this giant room. Next to that was all other artifacts that belonged to the family. There was an old globe, perfume bottles. So I'm going down to that end of the hall, and I don't know why. In the hallway, something caught my eye. That's what she said it was, Madeira. Something caught my eye, and I look to the left, and I see there's a window, like a dirty window that I never noticed before, right in the middle of the hallway.
Madeira.
So I take my phone, I put it on flashlight, and I look in the room. There is the creepiest toy room you've ever seen in your life. There are children's old toys all around the room. They have like a tea party with all creepy dolls around the table. There's an old little piano. There's old rocking horses.
And not the cutesy rocking horse, like the scary ones back from the day.
So I'm like, how do I get in that room? How do I get in that room? There was no door right there. So I had to go back the way I came, look along the cook's wall, and there was a green door that you open and leads you right through one room into that room. There's such a rush of energy when you open that green door. It was like, whoa. I knew I couldn't bring people in there because everything was old, irreplaceable, and just kind of hard to maneuver. So I put all kinds of equipment in that room so people could see it in the glass as they were walking by. But what a treat. What a treat. When we go back there, and we're going to do that in the winter too, we are investigating that room. 100%, without a doubt, I am going to spend time in that room by myself. I have to. Have to.
Yeah.
There is such a vibe in that room. I have to be in there. EVPs, I want to do the whole shebang in that attic and in that room. It was crazy. So that's where I was. And of course of the night, me and one of the docents saw a shadow figure about the size of a small person and very childlike. And they said they had seen or heard children up there, the docents.
We did when we were up there. When we were up there that one time, you and I investigated with, no, just one. When we were with Mary Ellen's daughter, and you scared the bejeebies out of her. And she wanted,
I didn't scare her. Whatever was there scared her.
The whole thing that we were talking to, because she'd never been up there and had that. But we experienced that it was a child, because you were actually putting things to light up, and then when you did one EVP thing, it came back and it sounded like a child. So we had thought that it was a child that was up there.
I don't remember that.
I do.
I remember the stuff going off. I don't remember anything about a child, but she said they thought they heard children up there. And sure enough, I turned it into a game. As soon as I thought it was a child, and when I saw that shadow figure and I saw how tall the person was, I turned it into a game with the equipment. And sure enough, he or she, we did get the name Nicholas. And if Nikki, I think you were part of the group. I don't know who was part of the group, but I'll tell you what, I preach all the time about equipment, and there are some things that you could rule away as saying maybe coincidence, maybe a static dome going off or a REM pod going off or whatever, coincidence, maybe. There are other things that you look at and you say, there is no way that's a friggin' coincidence. No way. And I'll give you 2 examples of that. First of all, this isn't an example, but this leads up to the examples. I was asking the name. I said, you never give me a name. If there's a child, I saw you. What is your name? Everybody heard it, Nicholas. Oh. Right? So everybody heard that. So we were referring to him as Nicholas the rest of the night. But here's the 2 coincidences that there's no way this was random. I'm in a room, things are happening, and I say, boy, that cold is around me. The cold, I feel it. Does anybody feel the cold? The app says cold right after I say it. Literally, I just finished saying it, cold. Okay. And I'm like, all right, what are the odds and all the words that's going to come out of there? And then the last 2 groups, because I found out the name Nicholas, I'm playing games with him with the equipment. And it said something like, and I can't remember verbatim, but maybe somebody was in it. And it said something like, do you like playing around? Or do you like playing it's something like that. Do you like to play around, or can we play around, or something like that? Oh. As we're playing and I'm making these, I had people stand in front of different things And I was like, come on, play a game. Go in front of that one. Let's play it. Yeah, something like that,
Let's
Nikki.
play.
It was something like, it was literally after I'd been for a half hour saying, you do this, you win the game. We give you a prize. You do this, you win the game. You're really good at, and it said, let's play as we're doing it. I mean, are you kidding me? I am just as surprised as everybody else when that happens. That there is no way you're going to convince me that that was a random coincidence. That was somebody listening and somebody interacting. I swear.
Well, how often does anybody go up there and interact with anyone up there? I was
so thrilled that those words were. It was real time. Just, we couldn't do many EVPs because we were all within the same building. So you just kind of throw that out because contamination. But man, oh man, was that one of the coolest things? Shadow figure of a child, Nicholas, and then that let's play as I make up this game and we're playing it. I mean, come on, man.
We had a first of all, I was on the second floor, and you're right. EVPs are difficult to do. I pretty much had to figure out where you were in the building to even attempt to try it. But I did in a couple places because it dictated it for whatever reason. And Captain John wasn't too comfortable with a woman, me, in that room trying to orchestrate. So I started in one part. I was doing EVPs, and I thought this was brilliant that Nikki did. Nikki was the third person to ask a question in the group, and this is how much this is stuck in my brain that I can tell you this detail. So it went Donna, it went Joy, and then it went Nikki. And Nikki goes, "Can you say Liberty Hall?" And we got back a breathy male voice saying Liberty Hall. You heard Hall clear as day, and Liberty, like it let the Liberty just like, but you could hear it very clearly, and it was my mouth just dropped. Like, of all the things you would expect, like what's your name? You know, are you here, Captain John? Can you? But to say and repeat Liberty Hall. And that just kind of like, I don't know why, but that really, what?
That Kathy just brought up another thing that I forgot. Again, yesterday was such a recovery day. We'll get to that in a minute. But my mind is mush. I call him Bjorn. His name is Doug because he looks like Bjorn from Vikings. Doug, Caitlin, right? Caitlin are married, I believe, and they were in that group, and Kathy was in that group and everything. And we're up in the attic again. We all think that our session is ending because that normally happens when I hear Chris's voice and people are coming up the stairs and we're going to change over and everything like that. So everybody said, a few people were like, there's people talking out there. They must be coming. And we hear footsteps coming up the stairs. So I'm like, all right, let's go over there and meet them and, whatever. So we walk over there and
nobody's there.
Nobody's there.
Because I was,
to the point where we even opened the door, looked down, there was nobody there.
I have a habit.
That was really cool.
Because of stuff like that, I have a habit that when the session's over, I flick the light on. If I'm coming up to it, I flick
we're on the other one on the side. We can't. Yeah. Deb was in that group.
And the other thing that was funny is, like, John talked about how the first floor was shut down because they were painting, and they had researched and were doing the paint of the time period back then. And Mary Ellen said to Stuart, the son of Captain John and Mary Alice, what do you think about the painting downstairs, or the color downstairs, or the color that we picked to paint? And a male voice goes, "Oh God," just like that. Start like, "Oh God," and we all busted out laughing.
Well, what was funny, not haha funny, was that they done married. What was funny was the exact text I got from Mary Ellen when we got there was good news, bad news. Bad news is they're painting the first floor. You can't use it at all. You can't use any of the rooms. The good news is all of this painting has stirred up the activity this week big time. So we, again, that she was right about that. Renovations, alterations,
Yeah,
any kind of construction sometimes flicks that switch.
and it does.
And boy, oh
It
boy,
does.
were they game
Cap,
that night.
my last group, Captain John, told us it was time to go.
Captain John, I may
he,
go back down to that floor again. Yet I haven't talked to him in a while.
he misses you.
So
he definitely
maybe
misses you.
I'll convince somebody to let me take that floor, but I doubt it. You
Why?
know, forget it. But I do want to get back in there. And
Alice was taken with the spirit of Mary Alice was taken with Doug Bjorn.
Big dude.
Yeah.
But I think again in the wintertime when we get in there again, and I'm looking forward to that because it's great being with people. And I'll tell you what, you know, I posted that thing about us being a nonprofit and all that and how much money. You know, when we look back at how much money we raised during the year for nonprofits, you know, we're proud of that. You know, it's something that we've done for a very long time. But payment would be great. Um, I've never been one who believes in and I'm not knocking anybody for doing whatever they do, but I've never been one who believes in just trying to what else can we get out of you? Meaning you guys. If you guys watching or you guys coming to our events, what else can we get out of you? Can we sell you more hats, more shirts, more keychains, more stuff, more? I mean, again, to each his own. I get it, but I could never fathom setting up a table at our events with all of our merchandise up there saying, you know, buy this, buy that. No, you're there supporting us by supporting and the location because we donate the proceeds to the that's enough as far as I'm speaking for me. It's enough for me. And when you have a night like we had at Liberty Hall and some of the Caldwell stuff, and I get to experience along with others this that crazy stuff like Let's Play. Man, that is a reward in itself for me
priceless.
To be with people and experience that, for them to see it and me to see it and hear it and all together. You know, sometimes, yeah, money's great and I would appreciate money, sure. But man, that's fun as hell for me. There are times where, yeah, some events are like, man, we're tired from the night before and whatever. And we leave there sore and beat up and tired. And especially this weekend, Sunday, we just recovered, man. I posted on my personal page. I had multiple heating pads. My knee is still hurting me, but you know, you that adrenaline and that good time and being with people and watching them enjoy it, you know, is it gets you through and it makes you want to, okay, what's the next group? What's going to happen now? What's going to happen now? So I just don't believe in just the Patreon and just wait, just sitting there and just what else can we get at? I see groups and people and just like this and this money making, this and money making, this money making, and this money making. I've always said New Jersey Paranormal is not a business. It's a nonprofit, but it's not a business. No. It's just not. It never was and never will be.
And just to touch on that real quick, Donna, if you want a t-shirt and stuff, and we love that when people do, we have it where you guys can get it at your own. It's not in front of you. You're not forced in it. It's not in your face. It's on the shop thing. And thank you for Patricia putting that. Before we get off subject and John moves on, I also wanted to say something really interesting that happened at Liberty Hall. I only did it with one group, and I only did it with one group because the room is so tiny, and the group only had just a couple of people, so I could do it. But there was a servants' quarter that later on became a children's playroom because it was so small. I mean, it's a step up and then a duck down because it's literally stepping up, and that doorway is so tiny, and I barely get through it at my height. And I had the 4 people go in. I did not go in, and the people that were with us helping, they didn't go in. We just Kathy, I think Kathy was one in the group, so it was just the 4 of them sitting in there. And this is great that Kathy's on, because then Kathy will understand this. There's only one thing that lit up in that room, and it was the little twinkly ball on the chair nearest Deb. And come to find out later that night, because I thought, well, you know what? I'm not going to put people into trying to squeeze in that room when it's really not that active. I was told later that night that that is the exact chair where they all keep seeing a shadow figure every time they go by that room. And that's the chair. And I didn't even say a word of what happened or didn't happen in that room.
See, again, and that stands out to me as something. The next time we go in there, I'll probably take that floor and do something in that room in particular, so we can use it in a way where not everyone is in there, but we're able to monitor.
Yeah. Because it is too small.
I'd love to have John's bobblehead figure. That's a one of a kind. You gotta go. I think you gotta go to the Jesus store for that one.
You talking about the one I got you in the car? Yeah.
It's just, and that's so funny too, because Terry Sharkey, who helps us with the with Power Unity, and he's part of the Mayor's Advisory Committee. We couldn't have the Power Unity without the Mayor's Advisory Committee, and Terry and his wife have been instrumental in Power Unity since it began. Well, Terry, we've known Terry forever, and my hair is longer now. I mean, I wear it in a ponytail most times, but when I let it down, it's getting there. And I had it down during the psychic fair, because I was tired and whatever. And I'm walking around, and it's wet and it's raining, and I have my hair down. I'm pushing it back over my ears, and I feel a hand on my shoulder. And I look, and Terry's an older guy. Terry's, I don't know how old, 70 something. And he's like, if you don't look like Jesus Christ, I don't know who does. And I looked at him and I said, how do you know I'm not Jesus Christ, Terry? And he just shook his head and walked away. But yeah, it's getting a little long. Thinking maybe almost time for a snip, maybe. You don't want that though.
I like your long locks. The curls.
So anyway, yeah. So Liberty Hall, it was so great being back there. It really was, and the renovations just made everything so much better. It really did. It's such a weird way. Just as Caldwell Parsonage kind of, I hate to even word it this way because it sounds so bizarre, but improved upon their haunting, if there is such a thing, by bringing in artifacts. And another place who did that, I believe, is the Peachfield. Yes. We only did one event there, but I know whatever was in the area I was in they knew about what happened to the family members who lived there. I always test that theory too, to see if they're aware of certain people, certain stories, if they're not them. Just see if they have knowledge of them. And they did have knowledge of the 7-year-old child dying and what the child's mother was. But then I found the one creepy doll in that building, and man, there was something connected to that doll.
Do you know what was interesting? And I don't know if you knew this, but Captain John was...
But remember we found out that doll belonged to a 90-year-old woman who passed? Yeah. And she donated it.
And she donated it to them. And they knew it was that woman. So I don't know if you knew this. I didn't know. I know that Captain John had passed away and they brought him back to the house and laid him on the bed in his bedroom. But do you know what he died from? He actually had shrapnel in his chest from the war, World War II.
Okay.
And the shrapnel and the complications from it is what killed him. And when we were in Mary Alice's room, his flag that was given to him. Remember how we talked about that one time we were up there?
Yeah.
What was the flag, where he was given that for his service and everything when he retired. And I think that was the flag when he passed, maybe even, if I'm correct. I'm not going to swear to it, but we talked about it. The flag had to do with Captain and Mary Alice responding back to the organic conversation we were all having in the room about his death and stuff. And it came back sad, upset, and she got upset when I talked about my dad. Yep. And we were talking about, you were talking about, when we were talking about Captain John, you talked about how your dad, and what your dad did for service and stuff, and that she was getting more worked up the more. So we told her we would stop talking about it because it was upsetting her. And then later on, she told us that she didn't like she was upset that things were displaced and not.
Hmm.
And that we were, and then the historian told her there that they would everything would be put back the way it was supposed to.
So, a little behind the scenes. When we filmed with Kindred Spirits at Liberty Hall, there was a discussion about, you know, whether or not Captain John was being becoming agitated and aggravated because how we try to interact and communicate, using you can touch this, you can make that light up, you can manipulate this by doing this, and whether that was frustrating him or not. And we kind of went back and forth a little bit about that. But the truth of the matter was, again, behind the scenes, the EVPs that they got during the show were a little more aggressive from Captain John, if you go back and listen, than anything I'd ever gotten in the past.
Yeah.
He never once yelled during an EVP that I've ever gotten. And every time I went in there, and I can't say it's guaranteed, but it's as close to guarantee I can give you any person that comes with us anywhere, that when I go in that room, I can get something to react or light up or get an EVP or something, because every time I go in there, I put things around, I run my recorder, and I always say, start, Captain John, you remember me? My name is John. If you remember me and you're okay with me being here, could you show me again? You know how all these things work in here. And boom, I mean, light show across the room.
You're correct.
So then when I go into Mary Alice's room, I always wind up getting interaction with equipment and an EVP in a female voice where she'll say my name. I asked her, do you remember me? What's my name? And I happen to share the same name as her husband.
Yeah.
So she says, John. Yeah. So we went back and forth with them a little bit about ideas and whys and hows. And that's the one thing we kind of disagreed with them a little bit on, in that, their idea was that there was some frustration there about, hey, could you light that? Could you touch that? And I was like, no, that guy, we were listening to their EVPs. I said, I gave you my stuff. He never yelled once on my stuff. Never. No, on any EVPs or Tanya when we were up there. No. So, I mean, we went back and forth with that a little bit, but I do feel that there's a comfort level for him with me when I go in there, because I am very, very respectful of him and his home, and he rules the roost. And I always let him know. You just said
the key word. He rules
the
roost.
He rules the roost. He has rules.
House. He's a rigid. We're talking about a captain in World War II. So, and then we're invading his bedroom, the very sanctuary of it. And, like I grew up where, and even still to this day, I even when I go to visit my daughter, I would never walk into her bedroom without her permission or whatever. It's kind of a thing. And that's how Captain John would be. And the whole, when I was up there, I knew what he knew, that the eggs that I put down on the bed, the yes and no that we usually put up there, and he literally took, when I came up there by myself doing the setup and putting the stuff like John says he likes to react to, I literally said, listen, Captain John, we're going to bring a few people up here. And when I came back into the room, going off into other areas doing my setup, the egg was moved all the way to the other side, like up to the front of the bed instead of at the bottom. And that's when I was like, okay. Why are you looking like that?
No reason. Anyway, so yeah, going back there in the wintertime, I'm looking forward to it when there's really nobody there but us, and we get to kind of have the run and go up to that attic where we've never been and really fully investigated, and go back to some of these places again where, Caldwell again, Berkeley College again, Centenary University again. Now they're talking about, God, I can't remember the name of it, something Hall. They're saying that the students are saying that's haunted as well. And
where?
at Centenary University.
Oh.
Something Hall supposedly is active too. The students are saying that they should open that up to, as well for these events that we do. So Darlene, was saying maybe get you in there, and I'm like, yeah, we need to get in there first. And again, maybe during the winter break where the students are all away, that would be probably December, January. Get in there again and get in that hall and live stream it and do that's the winter plan for us to just go back in with four of us and see what we find after revisiting these places when everything is quiet and dark and to chill in the air. It's fun to do, and you never know after like I said, Caldwell Parsons. It's been a year. We haven't talked to those people, whoever's in that building, for a year. And some are like, hey, you're back, and others probably like, hey, on your back. But again, touching on areas like Liberty Hall where we've never been in that attic, it's like that kid, that child, whoever he is, was like, oh crap, people are up here. They're doing stuff.
Does that happen?
It's like, this is cool. And once I figured out how to maximize the interaction and make him or her, Nicholas, him, I guess, feel comfortable, he was in the pocket, man. He was ready to go, So I had a great time up there. But
did you get anything from the cook's room?
No. He made a few things go off in there, but I didn't really get a chance to go in there. Once I figure out where the activity is kind of moving to,
you kind of go with it.
I go with that and try to, especially my first time up there, I try to maximize whatever interaction and connection I'm going to get.
Yeah, you're right. You got to go with the flow of whatever works.
But if I had oodles and noodles of time, I'd spend that much in that room, because there were so many rooms up there. That it's a mansion. It is, like she said, 50 something rooms.
52, 50. There's a lot of rooms. There's 50 some odd rooms, and there's like 10 or 11 just up in the attic alone. How crazy is that?
So I'm gonna find a night, I should say, probably to go to the Creeper Gallery. Don, I saw you were watching. I see the look. Did you see it? Did you see it?
I was reading.
No, it was.
That's my look all the time with
I'm probably gonna find a night to do that, and I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday, probably Wednesday, maybe not Tuesday, but and then Saturday is the Van Horn, I believe. Is it the 30th? Yeah, the Van Horn in Bridgewater, which is another building that's once a year that you just don't know when you get in there, because there aren't a lot of people in there talking to the spirits that are there. And we go in again and
we're always surprised,
a bunch of people with us, and here we go. Patricia, better check the weather.
I will
don't commit to anything, Patricia, because you better check the weather.
And then we have 2 library lectures.
Yeah, that's I posted both of them today. They're literally 3 towns over from each other. I know I didn't really spread them out because I wanted them to be close to where we live, so we can get there, do what we got to do, and then come home. But we at Clark, we always have a good time there. We investigated the municipal hall, so it's great going back there. That's the 17th. Thank you for reminding me. October 17th at 7:00. We're going to be back there again, and we always have a good time there. We always have a pretty good turnout there, and people are always engaged and involved, and it's a lot of fun being there and seeing everyone. And then the week after that is Linden. I believe it's the 25th at 6:30, and it'll basically be the same lecture, but if you want to ask different questions and talk about different things, we'll open it up to different subjects, different questions, different experiences. We'll kind of go around and ask people if they've experienced, we'll try to make it as interactive as we can.
So the Clark one, they want you to register, and the Linden one, just walk in. You just come.
Clark, you have to. That's why I posted the link to the Clark one. You actually go online and register for that one. And Linden, that night you could just walk in and just say, I'm going to the paranormal lecture. And it's a cool library, that the Linden one. It's multiple floors, so you have to go up the elevator, and we're on the second floor area there. October 14th, yes, is Camp Evans again, which around Halloween should be hopping, as the kids say. Um, and October 7th is Kalani. As far as the Burlington, I was going to say Burlington Coat Factory. Shows how fried my brain is. As far as the Burlington prison, um, there are enough requests out for the event to be sold out. I didn't get to that till today because I was exhausted yesterday and I didn't really feel like doing much. Um, what kids are you talking? I'm talking to all the kids, Kevin. You may not be, but my finger is on the kid pulse. Okay, I'm hip to what the kids are doing out there. I'm hip to the TikTok. You know what I'm saying, Kevin? So anyway, TikTok. I tell everybody that when things are going on at our events, and I'm always like, if someone gets pulled across the floor, please, everybody video, TikTok. Everybody think TikTok, tag New Jersey Paranormal. But anyway, Burlington Prison is pretty much sold out. I'm just waiting for people to confirm their payment, and those spots went. There were enough emails there to where there's 6 people on the waiting list, and that is it for the year. It. No mas. No more. I'm celebrating the holidays. After December 9th, I am celebrating. I'm going to all these fairs that they're doing, these Christmas things.
When are we going to do that?
I'm going to the city this year on the weekend. I am enjoying the holidays. I'm not ghost hunting till Christmas. No, no, no. Not happening. Anyone taking bets? Patricia, it is going to rain like you wouldn't believe this Saturday.
I'm not taking bets on anything.
You're the one who extended us to the 9th. I didn't do that.
About being salty. Kevin was saying
I'm
about
sorry.
Being salty.
Who extended us to December 9th? Was that me? Hello? Baking powder?
He started the conversation.
Yeah, Burlington Prison, it's been a while. They've been closed for renovations. Supposedly they repaired the walls, they painted everything. So again, renovations.
We'll get to be the first to go back in there after the renovations to see.
And from what I'm hearing, again, we work a lot Historic Society. A lot of groups that you see go in there, they pay the county a fee, and then they make money off of that fee. Everything goes to the Historic Society. Brian Murray, my friend, long time. Looking forward to seeing you in November. But yeah, so there should be really a lot of energy there, you would think. Halloween night date, no. Dana, don't try to do it. Although we have talked about Creeper Gallery on Halloween, but the expo is literally right there. So I don't think that's happening.
When is the Halloween? Halloween is
on... Halloween, I believe, is on a Tuesday.
So we have
and then the expo is that week.
We have an event Saturday evening. During the day we have ghost tours, and then Sunday we have 2 ghost tours. And so basically we'd have only Monday off, and then you'd want to do a Halloween.
I didn't say I would. I just said that's probably then the expo is that weekend.
I know.
So yeah,
this all but listen. I am my age. I think I'm actually older physically.
No, but I want to dig in and talk about. Again, that's what we were talking about leading up to how we'll finish this whole thing. 3 events, 2 days. We caught a beating, man, for sure. And it was nonstop. It was go, and we definitely paid for it yesterday. Again, sore. My knee is. I don't know what's wrong with my knee. It just hurts to walk. I went up more stairs in the last 2 days than I probably have in the last 2 years over the last couple of days. That is a good idea, Laura. If we're going to do anything for Halloween, it'll be easy. It'll be just like what Laura said. Maybe we'll all come on together and we'll share paranormal experiences, talk about different things, and that's what we'll do on Halloween.
Maybe we'll talk about our favorite haunted Halloween movie.
My Lord, is that the most boring thing I've ever heard?
I knew that's what he was going to say.
God.
I hit that sore spot. That's perfectly.
Halloween movie. Ugh,
I knew that exactly
ugh.
what you were going to say.
No, you do
Thank
that
you
on
for
some other.
delivering.
There are a lot of other rooms that you can do
Thank you
that
for
on, I'm sure.
delivering.
But for me, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it will probably be, yeah, it probably is arthritis. I've got it. I'm old, man. 55 in a month and a half. 20-year-old brain, but the body is not there.
He's so funny. I've been telling him for the last
Or what we dressed him as kids. That would be really funny too. That'd be fun to talk about. What our favorite movies, our favorite candy, and what we dressed as kids. Let's do that. Can we do that, everyone? Is everybody on board for that? Yeah, good. Let's do that.
Help me with this individual, please. Somebody. 2 years ago, I started saying to John, I'm too old for this pace that we're keeping. Too old. I have a hard time getting up. I have a hard time, especially after events, right? You hear this? On the way back from the last event we did on Saturday, John turns to me and goes, I think I'm starting to, it's catching up and I can't keep up this pace. I'm like, thank you for finally catching up to me. Yeah, Willie, dress up like Zach.
Yeah, Zach has muscles and short hair, and I have a beard, so I can't dress up as Zach. I look more like
what Christopher said. Then JP Tour Bus is adding on the miles. Remember, bring John birthday gifts this year.
Still a young girl to Deb. You hear that?
You are. I'm old.
Thank you for referring to me as a young girl.
A youngin. Where do you see girl? Youngin.
No, I said youngin.
Youngin.
Well, Deb, we're looking forward to seeing Deb at the Hoover House.
Yeah.
And her $10 of wine. Retro Candy. No, we're gonna. It's gonna be paranormal related for sure. It's not gonna be. Please, we're not gonna share Halloween movie stories. This isn't Hocus Pocus group or whatever movies.
Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Hour.
Anyway, so I don't know. Again, maybe Wednesday. I don't know tomorrow. Tomorrow might be rough, but maybe Wednesday at the Creeper Gallery. New stuff. I saw the pictures, and I look forward to it. You know. Anyway, that's it, guys. That was our weekend in a nutshell, and it was rough. But we're already booking guests for October. When I say we, I mean me.
It's you. It's all you.
Guests for October. I have the near-death experience. Very fascinating story. I'm working on. This is another one. Let me tell you before we end. Let me tell you a little story, if we can, for another moment or two.
John does it all.
Let me tell you. There's two-dimensional thinking, and there's three-dimensional thinking. Okay, just in case you want to.
And then there's John's way of thinking.
In case you want to learn how to.
Just so you know
how to do things. What three-dimensional thinking is. Now, if you have one thing you're working on, and you can get one use out of that one thing or one person or one whatever thing, then sure, do that. But look beyond that, if you will, to see if there's something more that you can get out of any particular thing.
I did. That's
what. For example, someone talks to certain people on the phone about certain things. First, they keep it to themselves. And then they finally, they'll tell me.
I'm feeling a purpose.
And then I go, why don't you ever ask those people to come on for an interview? You talked to them for an hour. It was fascinating stuff. Do you ever think about getting them to come on? Now, this is years we're doing this now, years. So we meet a guy at the psychic fair who does something very unique. He does the runes, those runes with all the markings on it. He reads them and he reads bones, right? So I go over to this guy and I see what he's doing over there. And I'm like, this is awesome. And he's telling me how it works and what he reads and blah, blah, blah. So then I get to talk to him about how he met his soon-to-be wife. And that's a very interesting story. And this is within 5 minutes, people. I wasn't on the phone with him for an hour.
Yeah, there was
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
And
I said to him, you interview these people before they come to the
I interview them for a purpose.
That's what I'm talking right there. Thank you.
Purpose.
You just said it.
My purpose
You just
is
said
to
it.
feel a
You
certain
just
role.
admitted to it. Thank you.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I never deny anything.
So I said to him, would
for.
you consider coming on New Jersey Paranormal and we interview you about how you got into doing what you do a live demonstration of both the runes and the bones,
which would be cool.
And we'll talk about, this whole thing about surrounding your relationship. Really interesting.
Very.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. Boom.
To the moon, Alice.
My purpose, you heard it. What is my purpose?
But I am,
box.
Listen.
Box.
Yeah, but see,
big. Nothing outside of it.
Can you be quiet for 1 second? You. I am not you. My brain works this way. Your brain works this way. We're two different people. You can not expect me to do what you would do in a situation if that's not who I am. Okay. It's just saying.
Just saying.
You know what they say?
It benefits me.
If something is continually the same, why are you surprised? You cannot make a French fry a steak. Okay? You can't.
Thank you for saying you're a French fry in this scenario, because I agree.
I'm just saying.
I agree.
If the
frozen
French fry,
at that.
You get frozen
Crinkled,
fries.
Crinkled, frozen. No, Christopher, I'll reach out to you about that one again, because
yes, that's exactly
I need you to fill 100%. Me in on who he was and what he does again. So
and by the way, before anybody sends us messages and saying that we're crazy and like we're fighting, we're not. This is what we do. This is our banter.
This is what's gonna happen 5 minutes from now when we leave.
But can I make steak fries? Yes, I can.
Yes, you can. She's capable. I'm not saying she's not capable. She's capable.
But do I choose to? All
right, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Guys, have a good night. Be safe, stay healthy, and please be kind. Good night.